So have you ever heard yourself say this? I'm no good with money. How do I get good with money? Well, I'm going to share that with you today. So stay tuned. I'm starting right now. Hey, y'all. I'm Debbie Dobbins. I'm the Queen of Magic here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico right now. And I recorded a video and I cut off the first part. So the fact is, women say to me all the time, I'm no good with money. And the question is, how do you get good with money? I know that there's the mystical, magical, spiritual side of money. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about that functionality of money, that the practical part of money, because there is that component. We cannot just completely ignore that there's no practicality of money. Money actually loves for you to understand how it works and how to be really good with it and to experience what that's like. So what I want to share with you is that there are some steps to be really good with money. I actually was watching, and so one of those things is stop buying into internet, online sales pitches for how to get rich quick. Because honestly, if you don't have the mindset behind it, I don't care if you learn how to do Instagram or do Amazon sales or any of that, you're not going to understand how money works. Number one, you've got to get some foundational practicality of money first. I was watching a Dave Ramsey video recently. I'm not throwing shade on Dave, he's not my style, but they were sharing on his show about a video, I think it was an Instagram, of a father and a daughter. The father was driving, the daughter was in the back, saying how she got a loan, by the way, to buy a car. I think she was 13. She got a loan to buy her car at 3.5%, and then she bought into an Airbnb making 11 or 12. I'm not even sure how that math translated. But here's the thing, is that information is out there for people to consume and believe, and impressionable 13-year-olds. Oh my gosh. And this father was supporting that. Here's what I'm going to tell you, is there's some practical elements of money that you have to do to put yourself in alignment with how to be good with money. And I want to share those ideas with you right here, because if you don't do these fundamental things, and as I said, we'll talk about mindset shift and all of that, and magic and creation and manifestation, but if you don't pay attention to the practicality of money, because it's an energy form, and if it doesn't resonate, you're going to repel it. So what we want to do is begin to understand it right now from a very fundamental, practical point of view, and then move on to the big magic. So stay tuned. Here we go. So it's like getting on the scale, right? I loved Biggest Loser when it was on the air. And so it was just that revelation that people standing on a scale and seeing that number in front of them and then going, oh, okay, now I know where I am. Where do I want to be? And here's a plan of action to take. That's the very first thing, is you have to be able to sit down and look face to face. So I don't care if you write it down on a little tiny piece of paper. I used to keep mine on this little tiny piece of paper. I know it's really hard to see, but literally it was, I had to pay I wrote what my credit cards were, what I paid at Walmart each month, how much I spent in gas, what my phone bill was. And believe me, this was right after I had cancer. So it's a really short piece of paper, as you can see, but maybe yours is longer. Mine's longer now. I have to have it on a spreadsheet. But the fact of the matter is if you don't start to see the picture, so you can see where is the money going, right? So this is how you begin to be good with money. You look and see what's coming in, all the sources that it's coming from, and what's going out. And then you have a number on each one of those sides of that ledger. So if this is way more coming in than going out, then you can save, or you can do things with it, or you can invest. But if this number is way less than what this number is, then we have to have a plan of action. So that's where the step number 2 of getting good with money is. Now, as I said, if you watch Dave Ramsey or you watch internet guru people tell you, you're going to make a ton of money doing X, Y, or Z. Forget all of that. Stop trying to deprive yourself and stop trying to find the next get rich quick scheme. What you want to do is begin to look at your life. What are you doing with that money? All of this money that's going out, I promise you, I promise you, is not something that's essential to you. As a matter of fact, And I do it too. So don't think that I'm talking to you and saying I don't do it. When I'm leaking money, and there's a great book called The Latte Factor, and that is just talking about where do I spend my money in ways that don't really serve me. So do you need 5 lattes a day? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But really looking at that and saying, can I cut my cell phone bill? I remember when I was sick and literally I was going through every single thing to determine what I needed to shore down. One of them was my cell phone bill. And what I found out was, because I asked the question was, I was over 63 at that point, and I got a discount. Woohoo! So the thing is you take all those little increments and you figure them out and you come up with how much you're going to save, how much on this column is going to go back over to this column. Now sounds like budgeting, and I don't like the word budgeting. What I like to call this is being aware and conscious of what's happening. Person on the planet that wants to keep a food diary when I'm eating differently. But no matter what, when I do that, things shift and change. I can resist something all I want, but the truth is that it will get you awareness. So being good with money is being aware and then making a decision and a choice about what is important to you. The next thing about being good with money, as I said, is stop listening to get rich quick schemes, or there's a great Instagram video going around. It's a guy with this, I think she's 13 years old, in the back of a car saying, I just went and got credit on a car and I paid 3.5% interest, and then I went and invested in an Airbnb and now I'm getting 12%. I mean, it's very complicated. The fact of the matter is what they're trying to explain to you is leverage money, which is a good thing, but you have to understand how to do it. You can't randomly take Instagram people's information. So I'm going to share in other videos about how to leverage money and how to make money work for you. Because at the end of every conversation, money likes to work for you. It really does. It's like a dog that likes to, you've seen maybe Cesar Millan's shows where he has dogs, and some dogs are working dogs. They love to round up cattle or sheep or whatever. Money loves to work for you. It loves it. But until you have some of the money to let it work for you, you want to make sure that you're in this awareness bubble so that you can start to say, oh my gosh, this is where the money's going. The fourth step in being really good with money is looking at debt. As I said in the very beginning of this video, there's good debt and there's bad debt. If you listen to people like Dave Ramsey, don't even owe money on your house. The thing is that I like to leverage my money. I like to have my money working for me. So if it's all tied up, this is my house, and if it's all tied up in the dirt, then it can't work for me. It truly cannot, unless I get a lien against it. So there's no other debt that's better than owning your own home debt. But you also have to understand how that works. So that's a different video. But leveraging debt that you use with credit cards that you don't pay off at the end of the month, is you're buying your future. You're buying your future. Because what do you put on those credit cards? Let me guess. Groceries, gas, household goods, clothes, kids' tuition, repairs of the car, emergencies, right? Those are the kind of things that you want to begin to move this extra money into a savings, that old little conversation about nest egg. But really, truly, you have to have this place where money is so that you're not leveraging your future. Because what happens at the end of every conversation is that debt is oppressive. And for those of you that are watching this that have a lot of debt, and I have had a lot of debt, I know what that's like. It feels like literally you're crumbling under the weight of that. You think about it all the time. You worry about it all the time. If you don't make the payments on time, the creditors come after you. You don't want to answer the phone. Holy moly. There's nothing worse than having oppressive debt. So I'm going to do a video on just paying down debt and how you can accelerate it and make it go faster. Because I'm going to tell you, if you don't know this statistic already, if you only make the minimum payment on your credit cards, you will take longer to pay those credit cards off than you would a mortgage, a home loan, over 30 years. So really begin to pay attention to where is all this debt and how do I look at it from the newest perspective of I'm going to take care of it. And the fifth thing about being really good with money is that you have to right here, right now, make a decision that you are going to give some of it away. The Bible says tithe 10%, and there's all kinds of conflicting information about how that comes to be. Really what I want to tell you is that you cannot outgive God. Whoever your God is, you can't outgive them. And so giving a portion. I had a class that I gave years ago, and I had a speaker, and the girl did what she called a hurl-o-meter. Hurl-o-meter. It's like one of those applause meters that sometimes you want to give to where you gag, where you hurl. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that you start as small as you need to right now, but get in the habit of giving, because as you get in the habit, you build more momentum, and then you give and give and give and give and give. These are some really simple ways that you can give. You can tip more than you usually do, or you can start tipping if you don't. You can pay for somebody's coffee that's behind you if you're, one of those latte people. You can buy someone's dinner anonymously. You can put money in an envelope, write a little note, here's love from the universe, and hand it to a random stranger. You can give to people on the street. You can give to your favorite charity organization or nonprofit. You can give to your place of worship. You can give in so many different ways. The real caveat to giving is give with no expectation. So if you give to somebody and you expect them to behave in a certain way because you gave to them, you're not giving without expectation. And it's so essential and so critical to the giving circulation of money that you do it that way. So those are 5 ways of how you can be good with money. Because at the end of all the things that I've said, if you want to be more magical with your money, you want to create more wealth in your life, you have to begin here. These 5 little tiny steps. Because then you can go to the bigger step, into the bigger step, into the bigger step. So stay tuned for more how-tos and tips on how to be magical